내 고로 방에서 죽었다는 거.
지금 언니 뒤에서 웃고 있는데.
Lingering. I was a little busy last week and unable to get to the theater, so instead I decided to stay home and go to Shudder instead, because why not? Infested is out the day this video goes up, so I'll probably review that next. But for this one, I decided to look into some movies that have been clogging my watch list for a while, and I figured I'd watch this little interesting film. You all know I love my international movies. Even if ghost stories personally are a little meh, this one still has some lovely cultural twists, which I am all about. Lingering comes to us out of South Korea and features a woman director. Woo! Now the title is a bit different, it seems, along with the release date. In its Korean translation, the movie is titled Hotel Lake, which is the name of the setting of the movie, so okay, I guess that makes sense, while the English title is Lingering. Personally, I think Lingering makes more sense given it's a ghost movie and things like that, and it's just a very nice, memorable title that also doesn't have the word the in front of it. It's not The Lingering, it's just Lingering. Way too many ghost stories start with a the in the front of it. I bet you can think of 3 right off the bat. I can. Jesus. However, I also saw some reports in doing some research that this movie released originally in 2018, but everywhere else online says that it had a wide release in South Korea in 2020. Okay, that's odd. If I had to guess, I'd say Google is wrong and the film released in South Korea in 2018 and Shudder acquired the rights in 2020. That makes more sense to me. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what I'm going with here. I'm glad Shudder did get the rights to this because it is a delightfully creepy, if not also muted, ghost mystery thriller. It has some genuinely creepy moments that took me by surprise, but the lack of gore and some very odd, tropey plot decisions later on really hold it back from greatness. Thankfully though, it has some absolutely gorgeous cinematography to bring its score back up. For me anyway. So what is Lingering or Hotel Lake about anyway? The story follows a young woman named Yoo-Mi who is tasked with becoming her very young sister Yoon Ji-Yu's guardian after their mother dies. Not wanting the responsibility, Yoo-Mi asks their mother's friend Gyeong-sung to look after her sister. While they're figuring that out, the two girls have to stay with Gyeong-sung at the hotel she runs that she used to run along with their mother named Hotel Lake in the off-season, meaning there's no guests, but quickly discover strange occurrences stemming from their mother's old room, and they are soon forced to unravel the dark secrets behind the hotel's history and their mother's death. It's a pretty classic ghost story set up that has some pretty unique Korean flair and some really interesting scenes, like a ghost that can only be seen in a reflection of a turned off TV, or a quiet background closet ghost appearances that are just out of focus but you can still see them but the characters don't. Honestly, the cinematography is the best thing about this movie, and I'm gonna go mention that several times. This movie is shot so well and has some truly gorgeous looking scenes and costume dresses that really stand out. One in particular later in the movie has one woman acting possessed while standing in a stark red dress, gorgeously framed in a doorway, half in and half out of it, with half her face covered in shadow and most of it behind the door out of frame. It's so cool and striking, and it just looks so good and creepy. I love that visual. Really good. And there are such great shots of the hotel itself, even some B-roll of it, just going around inside and looking down. It looks like a normal hotel that you'd visit. It's nothing like the Overlook or anything that becomes a character in itself, but it just looks so pretty. It's really cool. And there are some really cool tracking shots as well, which you know me, I'm a sucker for. They're just really, really, really well done. Very superb in my opinion. The director, I apologize if I mispronounce any of these names, Yoon Eun-kyung, has such a way with the camera setting, it's wonderful. I definitely want to see more of her work just for the shots alone. Thankfully, she's still very active in movie making, so I'm sure I'll find something sooner or later. The shots, they're just so good and interesting. Everything visually is cool, and I don't get bored staring at the TV or seeing something different pop up. I really, really like it. Unfortunately though, where there are very good things, there are a bunch of things holding the overall score back. And in this case, it's the story. It lacks just a little. Now, there's not a lot of gore, even when beheaded ghosts show up, so the film has to rely on its creep factor. I feel like it wanted to be similar to The Shining, especially with mention of the Overlook, but there's also a very few scenes of Yoon Ji-yoo wandering the hotel by herself that just gives an air of a potential homage to the Overlook and The Shining and Danny wandering around, but it never gets to that level of wild or iconic. I wish the ghost did a bit more than just show up every now and then and be genuinely creepy. They do have effective scares, but they just don't really do much to affect the story in any meaningful way until the climax. Well, there is one scene that the ghosts are very active in, and it's the one scene of this movie that I very genuinely dislike and really drags it down for me. It features Yoo-Mi running into a random schoolboy with an eye patch that just so happens to be able to communicate with spirits. Like that anime trope. He's got the eye patch over the one eye and he moves it. Oh my god. He has one scene, tells her that the hotel is dangerous and she should leave, and then he's out of the movie. It is such an overused trope, especially in anime and other, I don't want to say Asian flair, but it's a very, very overused trope in these Asian films. It just felt so odd and out of place. If you were going to include him in the story, make him a more prominent character. It's bizarre. He gets the one scene and then nothing else besides maybe a foreshadowing bit earlier on in the film, and that's it. It just needed to be more to justify his appearance. At least the film is heightened by solid performances from Lee Se-young as Yoo-Mi and Park Ji-young as Gyeong-sung. They really ground this movie and are the best characters to focus on. They have the most screen time as well, and I want to say that I wish we saw more of them, but they interact constantly and are around so much, so I feel like, no, I think we got a good amount. The movie itself just should have been slightly longer. The pacing is good, the story moves along just fine, the ending isn't too fast or too slow, but it just feels, I don't know, looking back at it, just a touch too little. If I were to improve the film, I'd cut the scene with the psychic boy out entirely and have the ghost be a bit more dynamic with Yoo-Mi, maybe Ji-yoo. I'd give the ghost specifically a couple more scenes and maybe some hints to the overall twist, and make the movie closer to around the hour 45 or hour 50 minute mark. Overall, it sits pretty at about hour 41 of creepy ghost stuff, but I think it really just needed a little more push into more creepiness and maybe a bit more of the resolution. It's a good resolution, but I feel like it could have been expanded just a touch more. As it stands though, I think the film is perfectly capable, incredibly well shot, and it's only really bogged down by a so-so story and reliance on ghost tropes in, I don't want to say Asian media, but pretty much a lot of ghost anime and ghost horror movies you've seen, except maybe not with the hair. That is a very Japanese thing that thankfully isn't a thing here. If it really explored the family tragedy just a little more and let the ghosts do more ghost things besides really just popping up here or there while shifting a couple minor story beats, I feel like this film really would have been a Korean classic. Seriously. As it stands though, it's only upper tier okay. It's not mid, but it's not anything fantastic that I'll go out of my way to watch again. That being said though, it's very decent and an interesting Korean horror that should be seen just for the gorgeous cinematography alone. So I do recommend this. If you like international or Korean films, or just ghost stories in general, I say give this a watch. You could do a lot worse, and I think you'd have a good time with this. Ultimately, Lingering, or Hotel Lake, gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around for another one. Yeah, I think next week is the infested French spider movie. I did Sting before, and now we're doing a French spider movie. Oh my god, there's a lot of weird horror movies out right now. I know Abigail's out and that's getting great reviews, but I've never really been a big fan of vampires. I know this is kind of turning the genre on its head, so maybe it's better than what Renfield was, because Renfield sucked. Oh my god, it was terrible. So maybe this one's better. I know Monkey Man is out. I haven't seen it yet. I honestly haven't heard anyone talking about it. I know it's getting good reviews, but I don't know anything else about it besides people talking about it. I don't even think it's horror. I think it's action. I don't know. It's not a Jordan Peele movie. He produced it. He didn't direct it. I don't know. Maybe I'll check that out. Maybe I'll save it for something else, but in the meantime, I definitely liked this one. I hope other people see it. Have you seen Lingering? Have you seen the other movies that this director has done? She's done quite a few that I can find, so there you go. I do feel that it is just a little bit too generic and kind of needed something else to really stick itself in the mind as a unique, exploratory film, but ultimately it's still enjoyable. I think a lot of people are still gonna like this, so let me know in the comments below. Did you like this? Did you see it? Are you interested in seeing it? How would you improve this movie? Do you like ghost movies? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. And after that, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss a video, and that's it. Have a great day, and if you're not, have a better one. See ya.
I'm just a ghost in your stereo, the fading memory of a shipwreck in the undertow. You're just a lost song on your own, and I'm just a ghost in your stereo.